So first you'll need to pop on your oven. You want it to be on 180 or gas mark 4, and then just make sure that whatever baking tin you've chosen to use is greased just lightly and lined with parchment paper. Then in a clean mixing bowl, clean and dry, you'll need to pop 100 grams of chocolate pieces. So make sure that you're using a heat-proof bowl for this, and then pop it over a saucepan of simmering water, and that's going to create a double boiler to gently melt your chocolate. So you can just leave that to melt whilst you get on with the rest of it. So we've got 75 grams of soft margarine or butter if you prefer, as long as it's soft, with 125 grams of caster sugar in another clean mixing bowl. Now, making sure that you're not pressing down on the scales, we're going to cream the fat and sugar together at this point. So we're using a wooden spoon. At first, it's quite difficult to get everything combined, so you would need to sort of squash the two ingredients together. And then what we're going to do is to keep going until we've got a fluffy texture. Now, if you wanted to be quicker about it, you could use an electric mixer, but because you need to wait for the chocolate to melt, there's no rush. What we're aiming to do is to get the sugar dissolved in the fat, and we're also aiming to trap some small air bubbles within the fat to help keep the mixture lighter. Once that's done, crack 2 eggs into a measuring jug and just add to that a teaspoon of vanilla extract. With a fork, beat those two things together until they're nice and smooth. And then what you'll need to do is to weigh out, just into a prep bowl or a separate small plate, 30 grams of plain flour along with 30 grams of cocoa powder. Make sure it is cocoa powder and not drinking chocolate, otherwise your brownies will not be chocolatey enough. So back to the main mixing bowl, we're going to add the egg mixture a little bit at a time and just keep beating it with your spoon. You need to do it quite vigorously, and we're aiming to keep the mixture from curdling, so we don't want the mixture to split, which is why we are adding it bit by bit. Then we're going to sieve in the flour and the cocoa powder. Now at this stage you just have to push the last bits through the sieve with your thumb. But at this stage you can scrape in the melted chocolate. Now make sure you use a silicone spatula for this to get all the last bits out of the bowl, and also switch to a spatula for mixing, and you're going to use a figure of 8 action to scrape down the sides and then just fold the mixture together. We're aiming to keep as much lightness in the mixture as we can, but have everything mixed together with no dry parts. Then you're going to pop your mixture into the prepared tins. Make sure that you get as much out of your bowl as you can. Just give it a little flatten out. It doesn't need to be completely flat, but just spread it to the edges, and then bake it for 20 minutes until it's firm and you've got cracks on the top. You need to let it cool in the tin before slicing.